It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got a new video suggested by a few of you guys in the Discord community. So this one's from Endire, and there was like I think two more of you guys. Sam Colt 06 and also Unworldly Line 47. So shout out to you guys for suggesting this video to be discussed. Now it looks like this one serves as a follow-up for the previous video we covered from this creator here, Owl's FTA, which this one is titled Dead by Daylight's Most Pathetic Meta Yet. Now, as we covered previously, a lot of the points that were being presented, because it was a response apparently to MintSkull's video, so you can watch the original. That's going to be linked at the end, of course, or you can just look for it on the channel. But this is supposed to apparently be a follow-up, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it, considering that it seems like they really didn't listen to anything that was really said, apparently. So I wanted to at least, considering that this is the title, we're gonna at least try to take a listen and see what's being stated.
Y'all, for my last video, it made me think, damn, maybe it is me. Maybe it's time to reflect on who's really the entitled side in Dead by Daylight. But then I see shit like this.
So this is automatically like the very first thing that came, like that sort of it sort of hits you like a flashbang, right? Because it seemed like for like just a brief moment you thought maybe we got through to somebody, maybe somebody's starting to think critically and starting to understand the other perspective, because it's like they're very, when you're within bias, you cannot for whatever reason be able to see the other side for some unknown reason. We don't know why, we don't understand how their mind works, we don't understand, and this is not even just this individual, but many people in the D&D community are completely allergic to trying to look at the other side, trying to understand why things are done and understand perspectives. So this is another example of that. For like a brief moment, you start to reflect, and then immediately you start like feeding yourself with things that feed your bias. This right here, which all these posts that are being presented in the video here, are all in response to the amount of multiple perks that activate when deciding to hook. And notice that it must be like 10 plus perks, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. It averages around like 10 perks that can just activate on hooking alone that cause a ton of damage to your match as a killer player. And by using this strategy, you're trying to actually prevent and counter these things. So there's a list of perks that are ranging to about 10, right? So according to what Prion TV is saying, Short of the Burden, Fast Track, Resurgence, Babysitter, Deliverance, Dead Hard, Decisive Strike, healing builds like Will Make It, Sabo, which is another like toolbox item / like the Sabo perk. And then we can also say, what? That's like 9 right there. 9 different things that you're countering, plus the hook stages, right? 70-second hook stages and 15 seconds of endurance and haste. So that's over what, 12 different things you're countering. 12 different things you're countering. So at that point, it pretty much boils down to why hook at all anymore. And I can say from my personal experience, like there has been so many times where, and you guys have seen it on stream because you guys were bore witness, I guess you could say, to that, where Deliverance literally allowed for just a simple 2k to become a 0k in a snap of a finger. A simple 1 becomes a 0. The bare minimum, you know what I mean? Just 1 that gets erased. 2 gets erased. You can have 4 that gets dropped to 2 or even 0 because of just a perk that activates. It's like, it's extremely punishing as a killer player when you're dealing with perks. You're not dealing with strategy or skill, you're dealing with perk activation. And that's why people are just actively choosing to not engage with that one thing that's causing them to lose games, that's causing them to have an unfun time. Because there really is no incentive to hook anymore when you're only being punished.
And it pulls me right back in.
And that line right there is a key component right there. And they pull me right back in. That to me is the most problematic part of this entire video. Because for just a brief moment, we had somebody who was starting to wake up, starting to actually listen to other people's perspectives, try to understand that maybe they're the entitled individual. Maybe they are the thing that they speak of. They are the thing that they're trying to fight against. And then instead of reading into that, going, why are they doing this? Like, what is it about it? And having some self-awareness and going, why is it that people are trying to counter these things, considering that's what a video game is all about, countering things. Pick any video game that you can think of and you're probably countering something, right? That's literally the whole function of a video game, and that's how it works in a PvP experience. You're trying to counter what the other side is bringing to the table, right? How it works. A perfect game that I can use is Rainbow Six Siege. When the defenders are bringing in, say, castle to put up those those unbreakable walls, like you have to use a breach charge to get rid of it, right? Or if somebody is bringing bandit to put batteries onto the wall so they can't be breached, right? Because you look right there. You're trying to counter the breach of the wall with bringing an electric charge so that if they put the charge on the wall, it'll destroy it, right? So then another counter to that is they bring Twitch, which is a drone that can shoot out those things. They can bring Thatcher for EMPs to disable those gadgets. They can bring a grenade and potentially shoot under it and angle it so it banks into the charges, stuff like that. Siege is literally the one game I have the most knowledge about, I could say, where I can say most of it is counters. A lot of it is counters. Of course, it's also aim and positioning, but a lot of it is using your gadgets to counter other gadgets. If you're noticing people are hard rushing into the rooms, put up Capcan. Maybe get Frost, right? Get some bear traps down, so that if they try to fly in, they're gonna get clamped up. They're gonna get blown up. Deal some damage, stuff like that, right? So to say that countering something is entitlement in itself is being entitled, because what you're implying by going off with this type of statement, going off with this type of post, is the mere fact that you're upset that they are countering your perks. They're countering the things that you are bringing, or at least these people are bringing. That in itself is entitlement. That in itself is the problem. Because if the roles are reversed, where killers are bringing something and survivors counter it, and we see post after post basically saying from basically survivor mains, don't use this strategy now so you can counter all the stuff, and the killer players are upset, that will then make them entitled, right? Apparently, according to the logic. When in reality, both ways, it's still idiotic, because they're trying to counter what the other side is bringing. And that's the point.
This time, I'll be responding directly to videos and tell you why we're entering the most pathetic, entitled meta in DBD history. Before I cover anything specific, I want it to be known I don't plan on being very charitable with my takes here. Slugging is unhealthy for the game, especially at this scale. A tool in the pocket for killers to employ when necessary? Sure. Going into games with the intent to slug everyone? Terrible.
But that right there is the misconception, because that's by definition is what they're doing. They're directly countering these perks. That's by definition. That's what they're doing. By definition, quite literally, that's what they are doing, right? Because notice that all of those perks that were listed are activated by hooking, and those perks are very powerful. Those perks are constantly being seen in these blobbies. Across the board, everybody's talking about oh, I saw fast track here, I saw this perk, I saw resurgence, the healing speed is crazy, the gen speed is crazy, oh my goodness, why is this happening, why is this activating, oh, there goes that hard. All of these things are being activated by hooking. Now I can understand the idea that, oh well, if you're coming in to ruin the experience of the other player, that of course is not a good thing, but that also happens on both sides. It's not good either way, because keep in mind, there's survivor players that go into 4-man swifts. to stun and bring every blind perk that they can. Bring every blinding item, flashbang, blast mine, like head on, right? The other perk, I forgot what you call it, where you vault over and like stun him and stuff like that, right? They bring everything they can to give the killer a hard time. They teabag them, point at them, emo, whatever have you. Try to die under pallets so they get pallet stunned, stuff like that. They give the killer a hard time. So it's not just exclusive to killer, and it's not just exclusive to survivor. There are definitely people on both ends that just want to give the other side a hard time. And that in itself is not positive, but that's not what's happening here. Because not in any moment in any of those posts did they say, oh man, I love slugging. I want to make sure everyone suffers. Like, nobody said that. They said, yo, look at these perks I countered. You can literally check the video yourself. The screenshots that were used, you can read them. It literally, like, not all of them were saying, look at the perks I countered. Yo, I have no incentive to hook at this point. These perks keep activating. Oh my God, this other perk. Here's the builds they brought. Look at what I countered. That's literally what they said. So at that point, it's like you gotta read, bro. Like, and this is what I'm saying. Like, when people are so heavily biased, and especially this applies to the entire DBD community, when the bias is so deep, they can never read the text. And that's why I try to tell you guys, man, you have to read what people say. You have to look into what is being stated to understand, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have people like this that misread and misinterpret and then try to villainize everybody because of their misinterpretation, because that's literally not what's being stated. Maybe there is a post where they do say that, right? But that's not what is being shown, right? That is not the examples that you're using, especially because a lot of these names that are being shown here are pretty well known. So that's just misrepresenting the point.
The key difference is that you're actively choosing to make the game worse for yourself and others. People can't even argue it's for fun or blood points anymore. It's legit just to satisfy their need to 4K. I'll go into detail.
But that also is a misconception, because you are saying that it's to satisfy their need for a 4K, but aren't these survivors bringing these perks to satisfy their need for a 4 out? Because if it were true that survivor players only cared about fun and winning, then why are we seeing healing speed metas, gen speed meta, every exhaustion perk under the sun next to vigil and ghost notes, shoulder the burdens, dead hards, decisives? If it really were true, where it was only about having fun, then why is it that they bring that then? Because if it's truly this one-sided victim is me mentality, right? Oh my God, it's always the killer sweating. Then why are the builds that they bring incredibly sweaty? Why are they playing incredibly sweaty? Why are they teabagging everybody they see? Why are they engaging in behavior that only adds to their own downfall? That quite literally makes no sense. But that's what they do. So they can't continue to try to play victim when they're contributing to the problem. That just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't work. So that's where I'm coming from. But let's continue.
Details about why this is terrible long term, but let's get more insight from the killers themselves about why they're doing this.
So the slugging meta is really starting to catch on in Dead by Daylight, I feel, and survivors are starting to notice. I am running into it more when I play survivor, as well as I continue to do it on killer most nights that I play. Just to re-explain what I mean by this, the slugging meta is that nobody gets picked up until everybody's down in Dead by Daylight, and it is designed or intended to counter extremely strong survivor perks such as Shoulder the Burden, Fast Track, Resurgence, Babysitter, Deliverance, Dead Hard, Decisive Strike, excessive healing builds, and Sabotage, which is less important because it's really not that good.
Alright, so the concept here is this. Survivor has strong perks, and slugging mitigates or completely negates their ability to use them. Makes sense. And in a competitive environment, it's like go nuts. But these are public matches that are being ruined. So playing in a way that's...
So no. That doesn't fly here. You can't just turn it around and say, oh, well, it's not comp. That's not a good point. That's not a point you can use here. I have to stop it there, because we're about to step into this, my fun. Like that's not a point that can be argued. There are people that enjoy the competitive aspects of DBD. There are comp players that love being in comp. They want to be doing comp. They want to do tourneys. They want to do those things. You can't argue fun when it's completely subjective. And you can't just say, oh, but it's a public match. So are ranked games. They're public matches too. Every match we play is public because we can all get in. That doesn't fly here. That doesn't work. Like, you get the logic, you understand it's a counter, but then you say, but it's not fun. There's a laundry list of things in this game that's not fun. The myriad of palettes aren't fun, right? People constantly say Kaneki's not fun, right? I can say that the whole like healing meta is not fun. People can say slowdown's not fun. I can sit here and say getting stunned by a pallet from across the map isn't fun, while the survivor can say it is. All of that is subjective. You can't argue feelings. You can't argue what you think is fun. That's not a thing. It doesn't work here. That doesn't work. Like, you know what I mean? Because that has nothing to do with the balance. Like, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. There is no scenario where that's right, or you could say like, oh, that's gonna counter something. Like, it just doesn't work that way. It really just doesn't.
So self-serving to satisfy your own ego is at the very least selfish.
Anyways.
And then to bring it into this whole self-serving your ego and all this nonsense, we can flip it around and apply it to the survivors, because if you're truly about having fun and all this kind of stuff, then why are you bringing these perks to be countered? That makes no sense, right? Because wouldn't it also be serving your ego and serving and being selfish by you bringing these perks that you know full well are meta, completely counter a lot of killer powers, completely counter a lot of killer pressure, completely counter a lot of killer fun, if you want to go that direction, right? But no, they don't do that, right? They don't care about the killer experience, so they bring these things, right? So why is it that it only is unfun for Survivor now? Why is it that it's only unfun for the one side, but the other side's a villain? Oh, they can't have fun. Only I can have fun. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that makes no sense. So that's mainly my point, and I'm pretty sure that it falls apart after this. You can let me know, of course, in the comment section what you think of the video at hand today, but all I have to say is that already from the get-go, the individuals coming in very disingenuously, coming in with heavy bias, is refusing to actually listen to what people's perspectives are, it seems like. Because we explain it. Like, even myself, who has engaged in what Pryon is explaining here, where I've even done the same thing. I'm playing Billy because, like, that's the only character that I actually enjoy at this point, and that's what I'm doing. Because if I'm hooking, I'm hearing a sabo noise. I'm hooking, I go to pick up, you can get blinded. I go to pick up or go for the hook. Oh, now they have shoulder. Oh, okay, I go to pick up and go to hook. Oh, they have resurgence. So it's like, why am I gonna keep giving the other side free bonuses that affect me in my match negatively? That doesn't make sense, right? And that's just how it works, right? Because it's a PvP game. It's not a PvE game where we're like all in a team and we're trying to like grow grass and crops and fight monsters. Like, we're not doing that. We're facing one another in order to see who can win or who can die. Like, that's how it goes. Like, I just don't understand like why that's such a foreign concept to when it's an asymmetrical experience. I just don't really understand that. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like, hit the sub, man. Become a member on YouTube or Patreon, or even subbing on Twitch, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not JLo, Evil Peach, Cargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.